Hi, my name is Neil Kanungo, and I'm a data scientist at TIBCO Software. In this demonstration, we're going to talk about customer experience and geoanalytics. We're going to look at identifying opportunities for customers, risks with our customer base, how do we optimize a better customer experience, and how do we measure and monitor that in real time. So there's a series of different analyses that I'm going to show throughout this to walk through the different steps and the different ways we can create a better and more intimate experience for our customers. To start, we're looking at this visual analysis with TIBCO Spotfire, and this allows us to dynamically select and explore our data and also do what-if scenarios. So what that means is in this analysis, what if I would like to place a new store somewhere in the New York City area? Now, there's lots of data here. This is for individual census districts, and maybe I want to look in terms of population. What's the most populous areas? Maybe I'm going to look in terms of commute minutes. Where are people commuting the longest? Where might they pass my store? And maybe I'm going to look in terms of just income. Maybe I'm doing a high-end retail store. So here I have the income, and I'm looking at this potential new store, and this has been calculated with the income rate and the distance to that store. And if I select just this top income range, I can see the areas of New York City where there's the highest income, and I can continue to move this down and see these different areas. So maybe Manhattan might be a little too busy for what I'm looking at. Maybe I already have a store there. So I'll look at this Brooklyn area, and I can just right click and I'll copy these map coordinates and I'll place them right here into this field. And what that's going to do is actually move that star all the way down here, and it's going to change the data. It's going to recalculate all this data. So now I can see of all the census districts that are near this store, I can select this, and this is the average income, this is the average commute time, the population. If I wanted to see just the areas that are within a few miles of this store and are the higher income, I can get this type of population and this type of unemployment rate, commute time, income. And so this allows me to do some what-if analysis and try to evaluate where I might want to put a store. So now I want to look at risk. I want to make sure this area is not too dangerous or there's not too much theft. I want to make sure that I feel like my employees are secure, my customers are secure. And here I'm looking at crime data, and I can look at the data that is just within a few miles of the store and filter this down. I can look at things like felonies that have been attempted and filter to that data, felonies that have been completed, and I get a sense of what the breakdown of the different risks around the store is. Now, segueing this into a different analysis, here I'm looking at something completely different. I'm looking at a San Francisco airport, and this is using a custom shapefile. It's something that I digitized myself. I traced and created the shapefile of the floor plan myself. We have some video content on how you can do that for your own visual analysis. And this is totally interactive. So now I can actually tie my data to these interactive objects, and I can see how the data relates to it and get better spatial, geospatial insights. So if I wanted to see just the retail stores, I could click this and see the retail stores. Now let's say I just wanted to focus on the boarding area D, and I'm looking at the top promoters and top detractors of this area. It looks like retail shops is a top detractor, and when I click this, this is showing survey respondents and where they were either departing or arriving from when they rated that the retail stores or the retail shops weren't that great. And I'm looking here and I'm seeing that there really is only, if I click retail, I see that there's only Sunset News here. There isn't too many other retail stores in this area on this side. Over here, I'm not getting as low of ratings on retail store, and that's probably because it's closer to some of the retail areas. Now, I look at restaurants. This is a top promoter, and I can click restaurants, and this shows that all around this whole boarding area, pretty much people enjoyed the restaurants. They felt like that was a great aspect of this boarding area. And I can click restaurants and I can see that these are the restaurants there. So plenty of restaurant choices. Now moving on, let's talk about a digital customer experience. Something that's more important today than it ever was before, with so many lockdowns and restrictions and a lot of businesses now needing to have a good online experience to retain revenue and retain their customers. This is an area that we really want to focus on. So here we have a fictional telecommunications store, Telco X, and they sell smartphones. They want to make sure that customers are finding the phones that they're interested in. They want to make sure that they can sell these phones faster. And so they're looking at how to make this process smoother and how they can increase their revenue and improve their sales. So this is looking at our data science platform, TIBCO Data Science. It's a collaborative environment. This is the Team Studio component of our TIBCO Data Science platform. And here you can see that there's many members of the data science team that have been making changes to certain files. We can all make comments. We can all collaborate that way. We can look across different data sources, share data sources. And this is an enterprise level, enterprise grade data science modeling environment and tool set. So if I go over to my work files here, I'll see that there's this customer targeting workflow. In the customer targeting workflow, you'll see this data science pipeline that's drag and drop. You have a variety of different data sources all being used in one data science workflow. We have some data wrangling and ETL tools. These nodes have all been dropped in. And then we go on to split our data into a testing and training, or training and a validation set. Now, our training set we've modeled with a logistic regression model, and we're looking at the results of these. We can do some simple diagnostics like an ROC and classifiers, but we're actually going to export this to Spotfire and export this actually to our streaming analytics environment, so this model can actually be scored in real time. So here we're looking at the real-time monitoring of our model that's deployed in our streaming analytics environment, and we can see the total web visits, 100 or so new web visits per second. This is great to see. We're seeing a high conversion rate. We're seeing lots of offers accepted, lots of offers made, and a really good overall conversion rate. We can see this trending over time to look at our model conversion rate, how our model's doing, and that's driving our profit up, something we like to see. So how this geospatially relates, we can look at the streaming data, we can interact with the streaming data geospatially as well, find out what are the more popular areas. We see a top 10 acceptance rate in Washington and DC and New Hampshire, Michigan. We also see the highest volume coming in New York and Texas. So lots of offers being made there and pretty good acceptance rates there as well. So this analysis is fully interactive, and you can actually zoom around and look at the type of offers that are being made, where they're being made, and evaluate if there are any geospatial preferences, any geographical preferences for your products. Now, taking this to our final example, we're looking at a fictional coffee store, Spot Coffee. And Spot Coffee has different promotions and forecasting that they're doing. So looking at historical promotions in the Bay Area, we can see Oakland and San Francisco. We can select these two distribution centers. We can see what promotions have been done for these distribution centers. And what we're really looking at here, just to kind of come back and clarify, we have these circles are distribution centers, and these diamonds are coffee stores that the distribution centers are sending to. And so we can see the demand of certain flavors, cold brew flavors. We can look at if there's any standard flavors, novelty flavors, and we can see how a store coupon, a temporary price reduction, how these fared. And we see the temporary price reduction has been the more popular discount and promotion that we've done to improve our sales. So how do we take this a step further and make sure that our customers are getting the products that they want, especially in a time now when supply chains and routing are very important, where things are changing and very dynamic, sometimes uncertain. You want to have the flexibility. You want to be able to perform what if scenarios, complex data science, all at your fingertips to the business user. So what we're looking at here is a constrained optimization problem where each of these different distribution centers must deliver to certain stores, but they can only handle a maximum capacity of a certain number of deliveries. A delivery has 70 units. They got about 29,000 units to deliver. So if I move this down to maybe like 50 allowable deliveries, and I move this down to maybe 5 active centers, and I recalculated the optimal assignments, what this means is right here, San Jose is over was over the limit. So this actually just reran the calculation and said, okay, let's put San Jose under the limit, and that excess capacity, let's send that to Fremont and San Francisco. So Fremont and San Francisco will take some of the stores that San Jose was having to deliver to in order to compensate for that and make sure we don't exceed that maximum capacity from the distribution center. So this what if analysis, you can play with this. You can try these on our interactive demo gallery. The link will be provided in this Boots resources, and you can try these for yourselves right from the web using the visual analytics and data science tools from TIBCO.